Hello. So today we're going to talk about intersectionality. This comes from Gus Yep's chapter called Toward Thicker Intersectionalities, Theorizing, Researching, and Activating the Complexities of Communication Identities. So when we talk about intersectionality, we're really talking about this notion of identity. And identity is important because it will influence how we engage our world. With intersectionality, we can think of intersectionality as how race, class, gender, sexuality, the body, and the nation, among other vectors of difference, other things, how those things come together to produce certain social identities and experiences in the social world, from privilege to oppression. Now, so if we can think about that, our entire experience as individuals, down to our what we would consider to be the more concrete issues of our identity, to the more fluid issues of our identity, these factors all come together to influence how we are going to experience the world, from both having privilege in situations, being oppressed in other situations, or oppressing others, those types of issues, right? So that we understand intersectionality is really all of these things coming together to construct a certain sense of identity. Now, one of the things that's important about identity, right, is that it gives people a sense of being, right? A lens by which we perceive the world, and a prescription for acting. And that last aspect, a prescription for acting, is very important because in a sense, it leads us to engage other people in different ways and to act in the world in different ways. And those prescriptions for acting are really powerful in the sense that it seems like, well, this is just the natural way to be. This is how everyone should act. This is the appropriate thing to do. It doesn't seem as if it's up for question, just in the sense that that is the right thing to do. Identity is also political, right? So it's contingent on this relationship of power and ideology. If you have a certain identity, you will be on some side of power and ideology. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we go into a case study on intersectionality a little bit later in this presentation. Identity is historical. It's influenced by the social, economic, and political conditions in which we live. So not only is it political, but it's historical in the sense of we become constructed as certain identities in a specific time, in a specific place, with all of the social conditions around us that are predominant at that time and place. But identity is also fluid, so it's ever changing. Things can shift and things can move fairly dramatically at times, so that identities become in a sense, they can shift much more quickly than we could possibly imagine. And again, we'll talk about this in a minute using a case study that is absolutely very present in our contemporary experience. Now, we also want to say identity is subjective, right? So it's dependent on experiences, interactions. Identity is not fixed. It's not concrete. And it, in fact, is not perceived similarly to all individuals, that it's subjective, that we have a perspective of identity, and people have different perspectives of identities, even identities of a same individual. So when maybe one group of people sees an individual one way, another group of people may see that individual completely differently. So it's subjective. We come to it with our own understandings and our own beliefs. Now, it doesn't mean that somebody has a false understanding and somebody has a correct understanding, because it's always subjective. So there's never a fixed true identity. It's a relational identity because people ascribe identity to you. Okay, in the next slide, we'll talk a little bit more about intersectionality.